Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to yet another Inspired Talks. जैसे कि हमारा endeavor रहता है Inspired Talks में to get professionals who have really curated their careers in such a way that they have hit the pinnacle of whatever they are doing, especially in the field of finance. The idea is to give you such insights that you are able to then practically use them in your careers. And आज भी हम वही करने वाले हैं. Today's discussion, I have a chartered accountant and a company secretary who has put 25 years of hard work into this profession, started off from scratch, and now he is at the pinnacle of what he does. He has played several roles across organizations, multinational corporations in the field of finance. He has also been the CFO and has been heading and leading the finance roles for several organizations across the globe. It is my privilege and I'm really thankful to Mr. Ganpat Anchaliya to give us his valuable time and share such insights which are going to be deeply helpful for all of us. So thank you, Ganpat, firstly for your time and agreeing to guide all the students.
Thank you, Arihant, and thank you for having me on your show. And it's my pleasure to speak to the students and the professionals from our profession, and which of I'm very proud of. So, looking forward to our discussions.
Yes. So, Ganpat, I'm going to ask you a set of questions, and few of these questions have been asked on my channel to the students, and so it is directly coming in from them, especially since you have been leading the finance roles. You have been a CFO yourself. A lot of students out there are interested on how they can pace their careers, what are the steps that they need to take to ensure that they are also able to hit that height in their careers. But we will start off firstly with a very basic question. Why did you choose chartered accountancy and company secretary as a profession?
So, I did my all studies in a very small town called Byawar from Rajasthan. And while I was doing my graduation, the CA foundation course just launched at that point of time. I think 95, 94, the CA foundation course got launched. And my father, who was a principal there in the college, he enabled bringing the foundation course coaching to the city. I was inspired by my father because he clearly saw that it's a great profession, and we always had very high respect for the chartered accountants. I was not so great in studies, so from that challenge perspective, I thought it will be a good course for me to conquer upon, and that's how I landed doing my CA foundation, and after that, it's a history.
That's fantastic. No, it's always good to know that chartered accountancy as a course is such that you need not necessarily be in a big city to pursue it. You need not go to a big college to pursue it. And you personify the fact that, being from a small village or a town, you have actually been able to succeed. But a little more into your CA journey, if you can run us through what kind of articleship did you have, what was the experience you had over there, and also let us know how you were preparing for your examinations and some failures maybe if you have faced in your careers, because that's very important for students these days, since we are living in such a competitive world. Any failure is seen very negatively and then it impacts the students a lot. So we would like to hear from you.
Yeah. So my journey of CA study. So after foundation, I cleared, got not a rank but 52nd position in the marks. So that gave me a lot of motivations. I did my articleship from Byawar town itself. I will say small type local firms. This is from where I did my articleship, but I learned a lot in my articleship from my managers, the partners there in the firm, and I used to do a lot of audits and finalization of books of accounts, and doing the statutory audits as well for some of the banks. And so that was my all experience during articleship. I was not the fortunate one to work with likes of KPMG, EY, Deloitte to do the articleship, because in small towns there was no opportunity. On the study front, I will say most of the studies, again in the big cities, you have lots of availability of materials, coaching and tuitions. In my town, there was not much of these facilities were there. So mostly it was self-study, and little bit of in couple of subjects I did tuition, which was also not very relevant, but I will say it was mostly self-study, and through a bit of the graduation program, the knowledge what I got, that's how I prepare for my CA exams. Also, a lot of other colleagues and friends, they were doing the chartered accountancy. So was a little bit terrified in the beginning because many of them, 3 attempts, 5 attempts, seven
Ah, yes.
attempts, and they all said, oh, you are a kid on the block, and it will take 1 or 2 attempts for you to understand how the papers come and how
Works.
to appear for it. And I said, fine, thank you for the advice. And it was never, I never thought that I could clear the exams in first attempt. No, it was a very, I will say, different journey for me. Lack of coaching, but most of the self studies, both inter and final. But I think the foundation results gave me a lot of motivation that the way I was studying is the right way to study, and this is where CA Inter I cleared in first attempt both exams, got a rank in CA Inter,
Wow.
cleared final first attempt, did not hit a rank, but both groups first attempt. Since I was doing CA, and we all know the CA course is so vast, it's quite depth. Each of the subject, the knowledge is quite depth, and this is where some of other friends who were also doing together with me CA, we all decided that let's use the amount of knowledge we are gathering from CA for also clearing some other exams, and this is how we ended up signing up for CS. And CS also, I hit a rank while I did not prepare so well because of the studies I did in CA. It was, I will say, relatively easy for me to clear CS exams.
Okay, so I'm starting to feel a little out of place here because you have got ranks. I didn't know that, but it's wonderful. So I have two key takeaways from what you have just said. The first one is, while it is a great opportunity to work in big four organizations, you get to learn a lot, but it's not necessary that you work over there and that is the only way you succeed or that is the only way you learn. Even if you are able to work in a small firm or a mid-sized firm but do your work diligently, then you're still able to learn a lot. That's point one. And the second point is self-study. I mean, it's not necessary that you really go to a coaching center for every single class. The good part now is that because of the virtual world, you have a lot of accessibility from all the lecturers across the country, and sitting anywhere you can access it. That definitely adds on as a support to your preparation. But for all of you, a clear message that even by doing self study you can get ranks and you can do really well. You can clear your CA exams in first attempt. So thank you so much for, I would say, opening the eyes of the students who believe that no, we need to perhaps take strong coaching and we cannot do it in self study mode. So that indeed is a great learning. Now, walking through your professional journey. Now, of course, you were from a small town, you did your articleship from a relatively small firm, but then you did get rank. So, what was your thought process when you cleared CA? What is it that you wanted to do? And then, what is it that you have been doing for over 25 years now? And how has that, if you look back 25 years, how does it piece all together?
So after CA, I think one thing was clear that I was getting into profession rather than starting my own practice, and somehow that was very clear for me personally. So this is where after clearing exams, I looked for jobs, and obviously, being from small town and also not having exposure of the big cities, that was a little bit of a challenge for me to hit a job despite having ranks, despite being a CACS. Because also the one fact that I did my schooling in all Hindi medium.
Ah,
So it was a big challenge for me to adjust. And when I landed in Mumbai for job, I got calls from all the big fours at that point of time, including Arthur Anderson and Deloitte and everybody. But I used to get dropped out in the discussions because my English speaking capabilities were not great, and I never had exposure as well. So that was my eye opener at that point of time. Um, and finally, I landed my first job with Reliance Petroleum. Reliance was hiring chartered accountants for finance function, and they looked at my academic track record. And the person who was interviewing me, LV Merchant, He looked at and he said that, look, you seems to be a very talented individual and seems that you have not had exposure, but still will hire you. So I will say that, looking at the academic track record, I got hired, and this is where I feel it's important for all the CA students to build the other capabilities and learnings while doing CA, while being in articleship. It is very important for them to build reasonably good communication skills, overall knowledge of what's happening in the industry, in the markets. It's very important because when you compete for jobs, then you are competing with many others, and this is where some of the skills related to communication and the knowledge of the other what's happening in the industry and in the market, I think those knowledges will give you edge or will keep you very relevant when you're looking for your first job when you go into the market.
That's great. No, again, a very important point, especially on the communication skills. Even today, we see a lot of chartered accountancy students because it is a self study, self paced course. You don't really go out there, interact with a lot of people. So, you have a challenge. And of course, a lot of students, even today, are from tier 2, tier 3 cities who are not exposed to communicating too frequently, especially in the English language. And then we also see the networking skills they lack. Most of the CA students, come across as introverts. They're not able to really speak, even though they are very smart. And that is again one fact that I keep stressing on my channel as well, that communication skill is really going to set you apart from your competition, so to say, because then everybody is out there to get jobs. And if you are not able to express yourself, it can be very challenging, especially in this day and age. But again, it is a great learning, Ganpat, that you overcame this challenge. And of course, it's also at times for the employer to see beyond communication, to see the underlying intelligence and what the other person can bring to table. So in that case, it worked out for you, and that's again a very great learning for all of us over here. But if I have to ask you, what were those key skill sets that helped you grow in your professional career and reach where you are?
So some of the skills which really helped me is not having a mindset that this part of the profession is good and this is not good. When we start our professional career, a lot of candidates, they say they don't want to do accounting, they don't want to do uh, auditing, they don't want to get into compliance. I never had those inertias, and that has worked very well for me. The first job I got into was hardcore invoice processing and accounting, which we say is a bottom of the pyramid job in these days. But what that job enabled me with was I completely knew how the SAP systems works and produces trial balance and in and out of the entire accounting system. So while you do your job diligently, as basic as invoice processing, you can learn a lot. So technically, and this is fact, that there is no job which is great and no job which is bad in the profession. I think what you have to do is give your 100% when you are getting into a role, and try to, in the first 5-7 years of your career, try to do 3 or 4 different roles to build a broad knowledge of the profession. So it's always good to do a 2 to 3 year accounting role, 2 to 3 year planning forecasting type of role. Typically we say MIS, budgets, forecasting, planning, and then a role in compliance, risk management, audit is very necessary. And these 3-4 roles will give you a overall complete solid base to be very successful when you get into mature roles, or you run a business or you run a profession. I think these experiences, they really enable you as an entrepreneur, even if in job or in profession, both ways.
Now, Kanpat, speaking with you for the last 5-7 minutes and the first 4 questions that I have asked, it is just like you're answering the questions that CA students ask me almost in every video. What should we focus on from our work point of view? Can we study even without going to coaching classes? Is communication skills going to be a speed breaker in my career. So I'm really liking this conversation already because it is answering those questions which every CA student or majority of the CA students today have in their minds, and unfortunately they do not have the answers to, because there is a lack of mentors, who can guide the young students. So thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. So moving on, Ganpat, a lot of CA students aspire to be CFOs. They want to become a financial officer, chief financial officer perhaps at the end of their careers or during their careers. But there is this notion that a lot of MBAs get that position and not a lot of chartered accountants. Maybe you end up as a head finance for a department or for some small this thing. But how does a chartered accountant become a CFO? And is it true that maybe the scale is tilted in the favor of MBAs?
I will say not really. Being a chartered accountant, I will say that from education perspective, the course provides everything to be a very successful CFO. And when someone like me can be successful, I'm sure everybody can be successful in the profession and really become a CFO. I think what one needs to be careful about is not to take shortcuts in professional career. So the biggest difference between the CA course and some of the management MBA postgrad courses is the exposure to the entrepreneurship and management skills. And that may be, I think, from that perspective, the CA course does not have a curriculum or part of the curriculum that also enables the student from the management skills perspective. And this is where carefully, if the CA professionals, if they really during their early career, if they pick one or two roles which provides them closer to the entrepreneurship skills, I think that really on the job you get to learn those skills. And these roles could be, leading a small function, leading an independent unit within a large company. You're not CFO, but you are the finance head for a small unit. And after 2 or 3 or 4 roles, many of the CA professionals, they get into these roles. I think what one needs to do is to really, those opportunities are the ones to really capitalize on. And that could give you a lot of entrepreneurship skills related experience and exposure. It happened with me. I think after 3 or 4 roles, I became the finance head for a very small unit, Lambda Therapeutic Research. That was the clinical research company. And I worked very closely. And I will say that was my first classic finance head role. And the learnings I got from that role, I will say, even today, they are so invaluable from entrepreneurship perspective, that how you step back from being a finance person and start to put your head of assuming that you are owning this business, and you start to take decisions and actions while finance is always the most important voice on the table, but we also need to capitalize and bring that value on the table so that we are respected and we are heard. So this is where I feel CAs have little bit of less edge, and this is why a lot of chartered accountants, after passing out, they actually, after 2 3 years of work experience, they aspire to go for MBAs from reputed tier 1 tier 2 colleges, and this is to gain that knowledge. Not everyone has that I will say, ability to again go back to studies after 2 3 years of profession. And this is where most of the students or the chartered accountants in their professional career, one role which comes closer to as the finance unit head, they should capitalize on really being owning the business and really giving their best. This is where I see it. It makes a difference.
It makes a difference. So basically, I think a couple of takeaways from this point that you made and the previous question as well. That firstly, we need to be ready to do any kind of role and make the most out of that, and have an open mindset to change, to diversify, and not think that okay, this role is too small or this role is too big for my career. And then also be able to fix in those puzzle pieces that at the end, if I want to reach a CFO level, then these are the 10 skill sets that I might need. and then you work on collecting each one of them. Some of those skills, especially technical, will be provided by the chartered accountancy course and during your article. But then in terms of that entrepreneurship mindset, either you curate it, or maybe if you have the opportunity, do an MBA and then get that kind of an inclination, if that's possible at all. But even without that, I think Ganpat himself is a living example that you need not do multiple courses to become a CFO. It's just about the right mindset and the thought process that you, when you do a role, then you are justifying it, and then you are selecting those positions that eventually will help you reach the level of a CFO. Now, one very common question that we have on our channel is Big Four versus industry. So, you yourself perhaps have worked in industry throughout, but you interviewed for Big Four, and I'm sure you have worked with a lot of Big Four professionals. What is your take? Does it make sense that at the beginning of our careers, or maybe even during articleship, maybe we get an experience of Big Four and then move to industry, or is it doesn't really matter if you are in either of the boats?
Yeah, so I do understand it's very difficult for students to decide which path they want to go. Either they want to aspire to be a CFO or want to be a professional expert on the taxation or audits or some of the accounting topics. If students have clarity that what's their end goal in next 10, 15, 20 years is, then they can choose relatively. If they want to be CFO, then obviously the path goes through the corporate mostly.
Yeah.
And if you want to be an expert in taxation or in audit or in financial processes, then I think the big fours really help you build that credible career through the experiences there. So I will say I don't have any preference or whether the big four or the corporates, but those who want to really build a completely more diverse uh, career, which is like you want to be either, and many of the CAs are also the business heads. So clearly, if one way or other, both KPMG or Deloitte or PwC, big fours versus corporates, I will say depending on what career path you want to choose, you will have to go one way or other. To your point, I think it always makes sense. If you get a start of articleship in big fours, nothing like it, because they have a very, I will say, very high levels of standards during the articleship period, and the experience and exposure, the environment these companies provide you is super excellent. So that way, if you get an opportunity to get into big fours for your articleship, fantastic, you already have a great start. If not, even then you are no less by any means. Yes, you will have to build the skills, you will have to build the experience, some of the environment which the big fours provide, you will have to put little extra efforts to gain that knowledge, but it does not mean that you are any less.
Any less. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, in my personal experience, when I was working with Big Fours, the biggest advantage was that I was able to work across industries, and then I was able to finalize, all right, this particular segment, this particular industry would best suit me. So I think that is one of the biggest advantage that Big Four provides, that you are able to experiment, you are able to learn a lot about different industries and then choose. But as you rightly mentioned, there is no comparison that this is better or this is not. It depends on personal preferences, of course, the opportunities, the possibilities, and also what do you want to do eventually in your careers. It I think is a mix.
One more thing which I noticed, and I'm not sure if you or the other students have noticed, uh, we have seen very less people going from industry to the big
Yeah,
fours,
yes,
whereas we always see big fours as a talent pipeline for the
correct.
industry. And this is where I've seen, after a couple of years of 2 or 3 or 4 years or 10 years of experience, we have seen a lot of, people joining us in the industry from big fours,
Yeah.
but we have not seen
The
other way
other way
around.
around, yes, very limited. Yeah, absolutely. That's hard. It rarely happens. Very few instances. No, that's right. That's right. But then you have been hiring. You have been picking up talents, candidates. If the students out there, or freshers out there, or even the experienced professionals out there wanted to say apply for a role under you or in your team, what are those skill sets that you look in a candidate, in a potential candidate, that these are the 5 things that I need? or ideal to have?
So first of all, chartered accountant degree itself is a qualifier for us. In a sense, it's a great degree for students to have and get into a job in Novartis. Yes, if we have more profiles than the number of positions we have, then definitely we look for a couple of things which we spoke about, the communication skills, very important thing which is the collaboration, the skills to work with each other. And it's not, students who demonstrate that it's not always about the individual and how they can be a team player. These are the certain skills we definitely look that people who would be able to work with each other rather than just individuals. Because in corporates we can't do individually anything. It's always through team, working together with the other functions and colleagues, we achieve a lot. And this is where these are the things which we try to pick through the discussions, that students who demonstrate more collaborative nature, more working with each other and respecting. This is where some of these things we pick. Obviously, the passing CA itself gives the certification that through intelligence or through analytical skills they are quite capable. And for me, mostly it does not also matter first attempt, second attempt, third attempt. Once a CA is a CA. Yes, if you're done in your first attempt, it speaks that you are academically higher. You have an edge over others. But many times we have also seen people who come after a couple of attempts. They are equally strong, and they are much more. They have gone through the ups and downs in life, so they are much more resilient and much more sincere and hardworking as well. So it's never very easy to pick amongst few if we have less number of positions. But these are some of the things which we look into while through the discussions and through the interactions with the students.
No, I think your last point is going to bring a big relief to a lot of students, especially, because they are concerned with the number of attempts. A very frequently asked question again, that does number of attempts matter? The unfortunate answer is that in a lot of places it does matter, because the students are screened and the applications are removed if you have taken, say, X number of attempts or beyond that. But again, it is good to hear from somebody as seasoned as you that you do not give the first priority to the number of attempts. Of course, it is an indicator and it does give an edge, but it so happens that due to multiple reasons or multiple scenarios, maybe somebody was not able to clear in their first or second or third attempt as well, and still they can be quite resourceful. So just to summarize, I think technical skill set, of course your degree is giving that to you if you have a good articleship experience. Your communication skills is what is extremely important to get a job in a multinational corporation. Beyond that, it's also your mindset, your thought process. How open are you to working with the entire team? When you're answering the interviewer's question, how open are you to learn? How do you showcase your eagerness to understand the organization, to be able to fit in? That is what is basically judged, because you need to understand that you are going to be an asset for the organization and they are expecting you to be with them for n number of years, and they want to ensure that the person who is coming in with them is actually going to bring a lot of value to the organization. So that is what is very critical. But now there are murmurs, talks, rumors. Chat GPT is coming in and it is saying that bookkeeping will become not obsolete, but that profession would die, because then it would be automated. We have seen over the last 15-20 years a lot of things have automated, and there is a constant fear in the minds of students, especially who are beginning their CA student journey, whether it will be relevant after 4 years when they qualify, or down the line 10 years or 15 years later with all these automation. What is your take?
So I firmly believe that the course and the knowledge what CA provides is going to be always relevant. I heard the similar stories when I started my profession. The SAP Oracle era started way back in 97, 98. And we used to hear now, out of 100 jobs, only 20 people will be required because everything is going to be automated. But later, everybody realized that to run these systems, you need people who have the same knowledge. And over time, we have seen, in fact, some of these technologies, they evolve, but they also need equally skilled finance professionals to manage, to build, and to sustain. So this is where same I feel for chat GPT types of AI revolutions as well. Yes, they're going to make things simpler. They're going to automate a lot of jobs which we might be doing today, and some of our jobs might become redundant. But this is where my advice to the all students as well, to always keep learning. And very important element which we now also see while hiring is the digital mindset
Yes.
and the learnings. And this is where my advice would be that continue to pick up skills on the digital side, learn the languages which are very relevant for some of the tools, some of the technologies which we use, SAP, Oracle related stuff. And I think with that you insulate yourself from being vulnerable to some of these newer technologies which comes. And every time there's a new technology, there's more chartered accountants needed.
Yes.
Um, I think the best part I like about the CA course is over the years I've seen that the quality of profession has not never dipped a bit. And that is so reassuring to see that while the course is quite spread in terms of the number of subjects it covers, but they are so relevant for the finance profession, and the quality has never has gone down. So this is where I feel CAs are always going to be in demand. We always crib while we are studying
Yes.
that the percentage of the results is very low, but this is what makes you very different from very other all other professions. um, yeah, I know it's it's very challenging because in CA you are not sure. Like for engineering and many other MBAs, once you enter, you are sure of a degree.
Yeah.
While on CA you have to earn it
Earn it.
through the 3 4 years of your hard work. But this is what makes this course very special, and I feel CA is one of the best finance course in the world. We have seen in our own company, Novartis Chartered Accountants really leading the global organization from finance leadership perspective, and it speaks very high about the profession because it is so robust and provides very depth and the breadth of the knowledge one finance person needs to have to be successful in the profession. So
So
I always feel CAs are going to be always in demand, and it's a great profession.
that's so reassuring. I mean, accountancy has been one of the oldest professions in the world. It has been there for a reason, and as you rightly mentioned, when SAP Oracle came in, we thought it will bring a sea of change. Similarly, when computers must have first come in, people would have thought that those who are writing by khatas will be no more relevant. But if you are able to adapt yourself and learn the new technology, so I keep mentioning it to my students that you cannot stop yourself at saying that I have learned balance sheet, trial balance, or maybe costing and auditing, and that's it. You can always learn maybe SAP, maybe R, Python, ClickSense, Alltricks, all the tools that are coming now in the market. If you're able to adapt and if you're able to learn, not become an expert, but even if you're able to understand what it means and how it works, I think that gives you an edge, and then eventually we will evolve. And as you rightly mentioned, the comprehensiveness of CA curriculum, and it is also evolving. Even now as we speak, the institute is working on changing the course and bringing in a new, more streamlined and leaner and more relevant course. So even the institute is working hard to change it basis the time, but then of course you cannot be dependent on the institute to do everything. You also have to do some self learning. But Ganpat, another challenge that CA students face is being in a cocoon. You are doing self studies, yes, maybe during your articleship you are interacting with a handful of people, but over there also it is work related. Very bad at networking. You yourself have a great network, and of course, you are known as somebody who is approachable, who is easy to speak with, and gives a lot of valuable advice, and people respect you for that. But how do students or young professionals build that kind of a network that you're also respected if you have some concerns, you can reach out to such people, and then you know a lot of people, and you are reassured in your mind that you have a good community.
I agree, Arihant, that I think that the way course is built during articleship, you certainly have exposure, and that too, as you rightly said, in the smaller cities and towns, the exposure is relatively quite less as compared to the big cities. This is where I think through the virtual world, so much of materials are available, and whenever you get an opportunity to travel to attend few seminars and these events are organized by the institute very frequently. I think these are the platforms you can gain knowledge and also interact and make friends. And this is where I think you have to work in a group with like-minded people, build a informal network and stay in touch and what's happening, sharing the knowledge with each other. This is where you have to multiply the power of knowledge.
Yeah, again, that's very important. I think institute itself organizes a lot of events for students. You have all the student wings in all the regions, and if you are able to go there and build your network, that definitely helps. You have to make the effort at the end of
Yes.
the day, and you have to start speaking to people. Last few questions, Ganpat. If you were to go back in time and restructure or change something about, say, your choice of CA CS and then your career, is there anything that you would like to alter, and why?
So maybe first thing is if I get a chance, then I will rewrite and do my articleship from Big Fours if I get a chance. So that would have given me edge on communication, on the environment, and uh, you know building a lot of softer skills and knowledge. So that's the one thing I feel could have given me stronger edge.
That's fantastic. Not a controversial question, or I don't want to make this question controversial, but young students today, uh, they see a lot of alternatives to CA. I don't want to name the courses, but then, you know, a 1 year course or a 2 year course, the passing percentage is higher. You are getting jobs in the market too, and somehow students feel that why should I waste, or why should I invest or spend so much time in CA when I'm not even assured of passing? And even if I'm assured of passing, or if even I pass, I don't know what my career trajectory is going to be. And there's something else which has a 40%, 50% pass percentage, and I'll get a job in an MNC, and I'll be able to just about start my career at the same starting salary package. What is your take on that? If you were a young student today, what would you have done?
Yeah, it takes a lot to clear CA as compared to many other courses, and this is where you can see that even 25 years back, for me, passing CS was with the knowledge I got from CA was relatively very easy. Um, I agree with you that when we are hiring, we do not differentiate as much between the CAs and the other curriculum, which are 2 years or 2.5 years, but have very high pass percentage as compared to CA, which is in mostly single digit or early two digits. But what I see the difference is the 3 years, the 7 years, the 10 years down the line, the number of chartered accountants who progress much ahead of all other professions in terms of leadership position, in terms of success, is very high as compared to the people who are the students who have done other courses and then reaching to those levels. Because yes, some of them might be still intelligent who are doing other courses, but I think in general, CA, we have seen many of them progress, and only few from the other curriculums they progress to those senior leadership positions.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just to set the context, it's no disrespect meant to any other course. Of course, all courses are valuable, and of course, it's also the students' capability and their interest and the will to learn. But on an overall basis, you see that chartered accountants are so much more refined in the long term, that they are able to grasp things quickly and turn around the tables and shoot off in their careers.
CA also provides you, at least 8 to 10 areas of specialization which no other course provides. You can be a accounting expert, you can be an audit expert, you can be a controls and compliance expert, you can be a CFO, you can be a process expert or tax expert.
Taxation, yeah.
that you can be a cost
Costing.
accountant or a cost expert. You could even do a law as well.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
so much of knowledge is there through CA, and then depending on the interest of individuals, people can select the career path what suits them.
The best. So then basically CA is making us jack of many trades. Now which one do you want to master out of that is on the individual, which
Absolutely.
field they want to select. Now that is absolutely fantastic. And again, for all those who have second thoughts on the course, I think through Ganpat's 25 plus years of experience, you can get that he has seen hundreds of chartered accountants, if not more, go through their career paths and get at top positions. So then his word does mean something. And it's not only you, Ganpat, even the other chartered accountants, experienced CS that I have spoken with, they also have similar thought processes, that it's not the beginning of the career that matters.
Yeah.
It's the middle and the end of the career, at the end where you are vis-a-vis your other counterparts, is what you need to see when you are evaluating. Last question, what would be your message to the young students today who are constantly living in this world of FOMO, fear of missing out, who are confused? CA, commerce, become a YouTuber, or do something else? And also to those students who, under this pressure of becoming a chartered accountant, it might be from family, it might be from peers, it might be their own expectations, who are somehow not able to fulfill their potential. What is your message to all of them? And especially, in this era of high growth and fast growth, that impatience that is seeping in.
So my advice to all the students is follow your passion. If family is pressurizing you to do CA and you feel that this is not what you want to do in life in the long run, I will say you are in a wrong course. Follow your passion. And these days, so many opportunities are available to make your living and be very successful in each of the fields. So, if you have some other passion, then you should follow that. If you feel that you are a commerce student and uh, you want to be more in finance jobs or things related to finance, then CA is one of the best course. It takes a toll to clear CA. It's not easy at all, and this is what makes it very special. But it's all worth. Once you are out of CA, then you will always cherish these moments of your tough time. Yes, the course also puts you in a little bit of cocoon. You are mostly at your own, and many times you really feel whether you are on the right path or you're missing out something. And this is where you have to make your informal connect. Also connect through channels such as yours to gain knowledge of what's happening around. And then also reach out to your friends and colleagues or the seniors who have passed out, who's gone through this journey and can share. I'm sure if anybody reaches out to me, student, or to any other chartered accountants in terms of advice, we are always happy to share what we have gone through, what has worked, what has not worked, so that all of you can learn and be successful from our learnings.
Yeah, that is fantastic. No, and I'm so thankful to you that you did not try to sell the course, that no, leave everything else and do CA. This is the best. The fact that you need to follow your passion. Of course, you need to also take informed decisions, because at the end of the day, you will have to earn, and your passion should be able to bring in at least reasonable amount of money to you, so that you are able to sustain. But having said that, it's important, if you are feeling pressurized or you are feeling out of place, and maybe your family has expectations but you don't want to do this, it's always a good idea to sit with them, speak, make them understand, but also be dedicated to what the other thing that you want to do, not that you just leave this course and do nothing which is of value. So that also is a very important thing for students to keep in mind, I believe.
So biggest testimony of the course is after 25 years in the profession, my daughter also, she has chosen the
Yes.
same course, and there was no push or no influence from our side. She was more of a you can say money person or finance person, and what better course than CA?
See,
So the relevance of the course is very high, and I feel is one of the best degree in the finance one can achieve. It's tough to get there, but once you are there, then I think it opens you huge amount of opportunities in terms of what you can achieve through this once you are a chartered accountant.
No, that's fantastic. And guys, you heard it from Ganpat, who has been in this profession for more than 2 decades. In fact, to just set things in perspective, he became a chartered accountant probably before most of you were born. So that is what his experience is. And very valuable insights and tips, Ganpat, for all the students, especially because you yourself have started out from difficult situations from scratch and come all the way. So that just adds or connects with a lot of our students who are almost in a similar position. So thank you so much for so openly sharing your insights and your career path. I really hope that the students have also enjoyed this conversation as much as I have. In fact, I had around 8 or 9 questions written down. I asked a couple of more out of my own interest and for my own learning. So thank you so much, Ganpat, for your time.
My pleasure, and all the best to all the students.
Thank you so much, guys. You know what you have to do. You have to subscribe to the channel. You have to hit the like button. And if you found this talk interesting, if you got some value out of it, then please comment and let us know so that I am able to bring in more such conversations for all of you with practical insights so that you are able to pick them up and implement in your student life, in your professional careers, and go on the path that you have always dreamt of. Thank you so much for watching. Wish you all the very best.